What's up everyone, welcome back or to the Hardcore Fab Shop. On today's video, I'm pretty pumped because we are going to have a new project that we're going to be working on here in the shop. But before I get into all that with you guys real quick, I want to take just a couple seconds here and give you guys all kind of a little bit of a heads up on what we're doing with stuff like Old Crow here in the shop. So with Old Crow, for instance, we are still working on it right now, but I've kind of just going to let Connor finish off what's left to be done on there because it's a lot of little loose ends and it's all stuff that he's capable of doing. So Connor is working on that, but he's only working on that, a couple hours a night or whatever after he gets out of school. So it's going a little bit slower than some of the progress on some of the other stuff here in the shop, but we are making progress on it, and we are going to have a update video on that here pretty quick. And on the car crusher side of things, the weather still sucks outside, so I'm just going to put that off for a minute until the weather gets a little bit better. And then we'll be back out there and get that thing finished up here pretty quick. We're only going to have one more video of that, and that's going to be it being finished up and crushing some cars. As for hookers and blow, it's all back together now, and it seems like it might be good. I haven't taken any time to actually go run it around anywhere yet because, there again, the weather's been crappy, and I don't want to cover it with a bunch of snow and salt and crap off the roads because I've got a car show coming up here in a couple weeks that we have already signed up to be a part of, so I don't want to have to go back and have to clean this thing all up from all of that. So maybe after we get done with that, we get a little bit nicer weather and stuff, we'll actually get this thing out and do some road trips or something with it and play around with that some more. But for now, I'm just going to sit here and kind of relax. So with you guys caught up on all the old projects around the shop, are you guys ready for the new one? This is it right here. So for those of you that don't recognize what that is right off the bat, that is a Polaris RZR RZR 1000 Turbo. And this belongs to a friend of mine, Nelson, and Nelson's plan with this thing is to go out and actually try to do a little bit of rock racing with it. So we need to build a whole new complete chassis for this thing. It's going to have to be a lot lower. It's going to have to be stretched out a little bit for them longer hill climbs so it doesn't endo a little bit more. And it definitely has to be a lot stronger than what the stuff was that came on these things factory. So this machine's already got some cool stuff going on with it right off the bat before we even get started. This was something he was running and driving, and it was a complete RZR here just a few weeks ago. He stripped it all down before he brought it to me because all the stuff that he took off we're obviously not going to need. But you can see some of the stuff that's left here, like the Corbeau seats, for instance. Those things are killer seats. We actually are a dealer for those here at Hardcore Fab, just FYI in case anybody needs some. But he's got the seats in there already. He's got some harnesses in there already. We've got a gear grabber shifter in there, so that's a must for doing some rock racing. This one's already got Fox shocks in it because this was an edition that had Fox shocks. And he also got some sticky tires on there. Now he's also done a whole bunch of engine work to this thing as well. So this thing runs quite well. It's got higher compression, it's got a different cam in it, it's got bigger turbo on it, it's got a different fuel system on it. List goes on, and it runs well. So this is going to be a pretty good setup to get started with here, and we've got a whole pile of parts over here that are going to go with this thing, and it should all come together and be a beast. So let me show you all these parts we got over here on the table for this thing. Alright, so to go with this badass RZR we've got sitting here already, we've got a bunch of badass parts sitting here as well. The majority of these are all come from Super 8 TV, and I'll kind of give you guys a quick overview of what we got here. We've got a cool little switch panel. This little bit of stuff here is not from Super 8 TV, but most of the rest of it is. So he picked us up a cool switch panel here. We've got a quick disconnect for steering wheel. Sweet Grant steering wheel there. Some bearings. This is a flange that allows us to use our stock fuel pump out of the RZR. We've got our Super ATV carrier bearing. We've got some sway bar disconnects here, some lights, some mirrors, some of the basic stuff there. We've already got 2 Rhino axles in the unit right now, and we've got 2 more here to be able to go in there and complete that all up. We've got the boxed A-arms with the 300M ball joints right here, and those will be on the front. On the back, we're hooking it up with the badass trailing arms here and also the boxed rear radius arms. We've got a 6,000-pound winch to go along with this thing, and we have also got a brand new boss rack for it. And then back here behind that, we've got, in these boxes here, a bunch of CNC cut plates already. That's going to give us a good start on building our chassis. Alright, so I got all that stuff picked up and kind of put up and out of the way, and I opened up those last 3 boxes that were on the back side of the table over there, and this is all of our bracketry that we're going to be starting with to be able to build our chassis. He bought a DIY kit from Skinny Pedal Fab, and this is all the stuff that comes in that kit. There is a boatload of parts right here. I've got to be honest with you guys, it's a little bit intimidating when I started pulling all this stuff out of here, because there's a whole bunch of little stuff like all of this right here that I'm not really sure where that's all going to go yet. But there's obviously bigger pieces, you know, like this piece here is going to have to go underneath the belly, under the motor and tranny, and stuff up there where the front suspension goes and everything. So I don't think it'll be too bad after I start piecing all this together. It would be nice if they sent some sort of, like, you know, instructions or at least a parts list or whatever to make sure that I got everything, because these boxes were a little bit trash by the time that they ended up here. So I hope that I have everything. At this point, I really can't tell you for sure. So I need to just go ahead and get started putting some of this stuff together and trying to figure out where it all goes. It's a pretty neat kit though, the way they've got it all set up. All of these parts, if you see here, have little indexed keys in them, or little slots and keys to where they'll fit in different locations. I don't know where this one goes, but anyways, time to start figuring this stuff out. I'm gonna kind of rearrange just a little bit and let's get started. So everything started coming together pretty decent on the back part back here, so I decided I'd go ahead and lay out all the rest of the parts and figure out exactly where every piece goes so that I could get started on tacking some of this stuff up. And it was about that time that Nelson showed up, so that was perfect timing, because then he helped me hold all those pieces together and tack everything all up, and we went forward pretty quickly from there. All right, so we kept working yesterday until we got all this stuff put together. We've got pretty well now a whole entire base stuck together, at least tacked up to where we know what we're working with. We've got our wheelbase set, we've got everything squared and plumbed with each other, and it's a pretty neat kit overall. It went together fairly easily once we figured out where everything went. There is some little marks here in the center on that plate and at the back, and then also in this one here and there, you can kind of see that it's got some center lines already cut in there, so that helped a lot with trying to get everything all lined up. And we've got this thing set up now at like 100-inch wheelbase is right where we're at. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the way the kit turned out. It actually went together pretty good. There again, like I said, if there was a little bit of some kind of instructions or something that would have came with this, it would have probably knocked another hour or so off putting it together. But overall, it still went together pretty quickly. And we did have one little tabbed gusset piece that was actually right here on this thing right here on the side of that was left over when we started tacking everything together that we didn't know where it went. So we did give him a call there, and he was happy to help us with that and told us right where it went. And of course, right after he said it, then we figured out that it goes there. So yeah, no big deal there. So we've got everything all set in place now, and all the extra pieces that you guys are seeing over here are actually stuff that's going to help us to align where our shocks go and also where our trailing arms go. So these right here will bolt onto the motor mount bolts. You can see that, and then on the end of it there, we've got some holes in it, and that'll actually tell us where to put our tabs for our trailing arm. And then we got the same scenario up here on the front. This plate here has got some holes in it that help you line up with some holes here on this plate on top, and that'll set your shock mounts for the top. And then the big tall pieces there, those will also go to the motor mount plates back here and help you set your tabs for your top shock bracket. So that's all pretty slick, and that kind of stuff is kind of the reason why we went ahead and got a kit like this for it. I could have sit here and I made all this stuff out if I wanted to. I mean, we've got the plasma table there. We've got 2 trucks sitting here with full custom chassis in it. You guys know that I can make this stuff, but it would have taken a lot of time. So the time that Nelson would have been paying me for versus what this kit cost, it actually probably makes a lot more sense for him to go ahead and do this kit, and it makes it a lot faster for me here in the shop to get more things done and get other projects done as well. So it worked out good for both of us, and I think it's going to come together and work out real great. I mean, everything is looking really good so far, so pretty happy with it overall. I would say, you know, if I ever do another one of these, I will do a lot more in depth on it now that I've done one. It's pretty simple on the way it goes together, and if I had a good video of it, it would be a lot less intimidating for a lot of other people, I'm sure. So in the future, if I ever do another one, we'll probably get another one of these kits, and I'll give you guys a lot more in-depth video on that. But for now, this is about all I can give you. I can give you a little bit closer look at this too if you want. That front section there is probably the most complicated. The back pieces are pretty self-explanatory on where those pieces go. And then the arm pieces there that come up to actually locate your shocks, those are a little funky looking to begin with, but after you realize that those are in the kit, then it makes a lot more sense that those are there. There is one more plate here that's going to go right down here into that hole on the bottom side. That's another little plate that's going to need to be in there to cover up the bottom of the tranny. And then, of course, you got the plate on the back, which everybody's going to notice, that goes on there to be able to hold on the rear arms on there. So that's pretty much this kit. That's pretty well as much as I'm going to give you guys or tell you guys about it now. So I'm going to go ahead and switch out my hoodie and start welding all this stuff up. And then in our next video, we'll be probably starting to lay out some of the rest of the stuff. I think I'm going to try to do the motor and stuff in here next so that we got something to start building around and go from there. So hopefully you guys liked the video. And if you did and you want to see more of this, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and hit the bell next to it so you get notifications of when the next video comes out. And also, we are going to be looking for a name for the buggy. You know, he's got green already set in his mind that that's what he wants the color of the chassis to be, and the bodywork is probably going to be black or something like that. So that kind of gives some of you guys a little bit of a reference point there on what it's going to look like, and we need a name. So if anybody's got a good name, drop that down in the comments below. I'm really curious to see if anybody comes up with something cool. And I guess with that, that's all I got for you guys in this video. I'll see you guys on the next one.